All right, guys, so today's video, we're gonna be talking about the brand new Beats Fit Pro. Now, if you're an Apple user, I wanna go ahead and say this at the top of the video. This is definitely the best pair of earbuds that Apple has released yet. Now, it doesn't stand out in some areas with features that we're gonna talk about, but if you're an Android user, there's a lot of things that you don't get that you would if you're an Apple user. And in that case, I wanna go ahead and say that there are much better options out there for Android users, but as Apple users, this is definitely one of the best. We're gonna talk about why I feel this way. We're gonna talk about some of the features that you get and some of the ones that you don't get. We're gonna talk about the sound and see if these could be worth the $200 price tag. So let's go ahead and start with the price. If you're looking to buy a pair of earbuds and you are an Apple user, you have the AirPods Pros that come in at $250, you have the Beats Fit Pro that come in at $200, and then Apple just released the AirPods 3 that come in, I believe it was $180. So they're all kind of similar. The Apple AirPods Pros go on sale all the time for around 200 bucks. So this is gonna be more comparable to the AirPods Pros than it is the AirPods 3. Now with this pair, unlike the Beats Studio Pro earbuds that they just released, this pair does have the H1 chip, so you do get the auto pairing feature. Once you pop open the lid, you see it pop up on the screen. You also get some features like the always on Hey Siri. You also can share audio with another device that has an H1 chip, and these also have the spatial audio with that head tracking. So if you're listening to something and you turn your head, it's always gonna have the audio focused right here, right where you originally started. So you will notice that the sound will just be in your left ear if you turn this way, and it will just be in your right if you go this way. And I don't like this feature necessarily with music, but I will say if you're watching a movie or TV shows or anything like that, it is pretty incredible to see. It's kind of like watching a TV where the sound is always right there where you're looking. And I've always enjoyed this feature for that, but I think for music, this is something I could do without. And with saying that, the features that I just mentioned here are features that you do not get if you're an Android user. So if you're an Android user, you're gonna have to go into the Play Store and download the Beats app. That way you can have some features like the pop-up connection. It will show you your battery life. It also does a fit test, which will allow you to make sure you're getting the right fit. It allows you to switch around some controls because out of the box, you do not get control over everything. Now, it also has a feature where you can turn on active noise canceling even if you're using one earbud. Now, a lot of companies, once you're using one earbud, just does not allow you to use active noise canceling. So this is a nice feature to have. And then really the only other thing is it allows you to turn your noise canceling on, off, and then your transparency mode. So you do have 3 different listening modes in here. And then another thing that's pretty important if you're not an Apple user is because these were designed with Apple in mind first, they only support AAC playback. So you don't get aptX, you don't get aptX HD or LDAC or anything like that. So in this price range, this is going to be a big turnoff for a lot of people. So let's go ahead and talk about the active noise canceling, because if you're looking to spend about $200, you're looking at some of the best pairs out there that have noise canceling. I mean, the Bose were just on sale for $199, the Sonys just went on sale for like $250, and then of course you have the AirPods Pros that go on sale for about $200. And this pair compared to all of those, these do not have the same noise canceling that those do. And I feel like this is where Apple starts to kind of pull back so that if you're somebody looking at their products, it still gives you a reason to go with the AirPods Pros, because the noise canceling on the Beats Fit Pro are actually very good. It's just not at that top tier level like the other ones that I just mentioned. Now, as far as the ambient mode, as good as it is on the Beats Fit Pro, it's still not as good as it is on the AirPods Pros. The AirPods Pros is just always known to have that really good ambient mode. That way it just sounds very natural. It just really doesn't even sound like you have the earbuds in your ears. And you can tell with the Beats Fit Pro that there is some blockage still, and everything just doesn't sound as clear as it does with the AirPods Pro. Now, as far as what all you get inside the box, they do include the small, medium, and large silicone ear tips. Now, they also include a USB-C cable, and that's kind of surprising because with Apple, you never know if it's going to be a USB-C cable or a Lightning cable. But another thing that it's extremely surprising, and this is definitely a negative on this pair, is you're going to have to use this USB-C cable to charge these because the case on these is not a Qi wireless charging case. And in this price range, almost every case is a Qi wireless charging case. So this is something that, again, I feel like they purposely did because the AirPods Pro has a charging case and the AirPods 3 that they just released also has a wireless charging case. So that is a huge drawback with this pair. But speaking of the charging, the battery life is pretty decent. Now, if you do just decide to use these with the noise canceling on all the time, you're going to get around 6 hours on the earbuds with around 24 hours using the case. But you can also use these with the noise canceling turned off, and that way you're going to get about 7 hours on the earbuds and around 30 hours using the case. So there's not really much of a battery difference. So I would just say use them with the noise canceling on all the time unless you just really don't need it. But if you do happen to pick these up and they are dead, they also have a fast charge feature where a quick 5-minute charge will get you an hour's worth of use. So now moving over to looking at the actual case itself, the first thing that I noticed is this looks exactly like the Powerbeats Pro case, but much smaller. This is much slimmer. It's easy to kind of slide into your pocket. Now on the back, you can see the USB-C input. And on the front, you have that one indicator light, and that way you can kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case. And then when you open up the lid, it has your pairing button located right between the earbuds. And that way you just put them into pairing mode if you're gonna connect to a different device. And then moving over to looking at the earbuds, they look a lot like the Beats Studio Pro earbuds that just got released, except this pair has an always on wingtip. Like, you cannot take this off. And I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. And I think it really just kind of depends on the user that you are, because I don't feel like this wingtip is going to be comfortable for everybody. I mean, it was comfortable for me. It did take a little bit of moving around to make sure I got it just right. But some people with small ears, I think are gonna have an issue getting these to fit. And now these also have smart sensors, so they will pause if you take them out of your ears, and it will just resume when you put them back in. And they also use button controls. And I will say that the button controls on here are very sensitive. So if you just move your earbuds around, you're more than likely gonna accidentally touch that button because it does not take much to control these. And I am happy to say that once you go into the app, you can get these to control everything, but you are going to have to sacrifice the ability to switch between your noise canceling on and your noise canceling off in your transparency mode, because to get volume control, you do have to sacrifice that option. But once you switch that, you can have your play, your pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, and then your volume control. But again, you do have to sacrifice to get that. And then for you guys that do like to use your earbuds for phone calls, this is another area where it felt like Apple kind of held these back because the mics on the AirPods Pros and the AirPods 3s and all of that are much better than it is on this new pair of Beats. Now, I'm not saying that the microphone's not good, it's just not comparable to some of the other Apple earbuds that are out there. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the Beats Fit Pro. I think overall it picks up my voice very well, but it does sound a little more digital than some of the other Apple products. And I do feel like it's kind of lacking on picking up bass tones. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. Now the sound on these are actually very impressive. They're using a custom 9.5mm dual element diaphragm driver. And what this driver really is doing is allowing these earbuds to have a ton of space. Same thing with the bass. The bass has a nice quick impact to it, but there's a spaciousness in it where it doesn't feel like it's all right there in front of you. And everything else just feels wide open, which is very impressive in a pair like this. But what's also impressive is with this spacious sound, it still has the mids sounding up front. It didn't sound like vocalists were just kind of out there and blended in with everything. It felt like the vocalist was taking a step forward and kind of singing right there in front of you. And it just made instruments sound good. The treble on these are nice and clean. I will say, since Beats have released the Beats Solo Pros, which is the first product that they released under Apple, the sound with Beats products has changed a lot. I think in the original Beats lineup, it was all heavily focused on bass. It didn't really focus as much on mids and treble, and now it seems to have shifted in a completely different direction. I think a lot of the new Beats products are focused a lot more on clarity. There's a lot more details than the original pairs had, and the bass is kind of taking a step back as far as impact goes. It's just a lot more cleaned up. It still has a kick to it. It's just not gonna be as overpowering or as muddy sounding as it was on original Beats products. So from an audio perspective, these new Beats products are actually really good, and this may be one of their best when it comes to earbuds. So as far as my overall conclusion with this pair, honestly, if you're already in Apple's ecosystem and you're looking for a pair of earbuds where audio may be your main focus, this is the best pair that they have in their lineup, in my opinion. But you do have to keep in mind that you don't get Qi wireless charging. You also don't get the same active noise canceling that you get with the AirPods Pros. And so it just at times kind of feels like it's held back some. And as far as Android users go, as good as this pair sounds, I think in this price range, there's just much better competition and much better options out there. I mean, the Liberty 3 Pros are still one of the best, and it's cheaper than this pair. The active noise canceling on those are even better. So I think Android users have a little bit more options, but I think as Apple users that want to stay within their ecosystem, this may be the best option out there. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Beats Fit Pro. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.